America, the land of dreams. But for many, this dream lives under a shadow, the dark reality of crime. It's a problem that touches every corner of our nation. We see it on our streets and in our homes. This isn't just about numbers, it's about real lives, changed by violence, families torn apart, communities living in fear. We can't afford to be silent anymore. It's time to shed light on the dark reality of crime in America.
Walking home alone at night, checking the car doors twice, small acts of fear have become routine.
We hear stories on the news, see reports in our neighborhoods. It's a reality that hits close to home.
This fear shapes our decisions and limits our freedom. We deserve to feel safe in our own neighborhoods.
Our justice system promises punishment and rehabilitation, but in overcrowded and underfunded state jails, the reality is a living nightmare.
Cells overflow with inmates. Basic hygiene is a luxury. The system breeds more violence and trauma.
Those behind bars are human beings deserving of dignity. We must demand better conditions and meaningful rehabilitation programs. Every life lost to violence is a tragedy, leaving behind families shattered and communities reeling. The headlines tell a grim story. Shootings in schools, gang violence on city streets, domestic disputes turn deadly.
Behind each statistic is a name, a face, a life cut short. We mourn the loss of potential, the dreams unrealized, the futures stolen. The ripple effects of these killings spread far and wide, leaving communities traumatized and fearful.
But it's not enough to mourn. We must demand action. We must address the root causes of this violence: poverty, lack of opportunity, easy access to firearms. We need to have honest conversations about gun control, mental health support, and conflict resolution. We need to invest in our communities, provide resources, and create pathways to a better future. Every life is precious, and we must do everything in our power to prevent these tragedies, the bruises we don't see, abuse in the shadows. Behind closed doors, a different kind of crime festers: domestic violence, child abuse, elder abuse. These hidden crimes often go unreported, leaving victims trapped in cycles of fear and silence.
The scars of abuse run deep, impacting mental health, self-esteem, and the ability to form healthy relationships. Children who witness or experience abuse are especially vulnerable, carrying the trauma with them into adulthood.
Breaking the silence is crucial. We need to create safe spaces for victims to come forward, provide access to support services, and hold abusers accountable.
Education is key, teaching children about healthy relationships and empowering them to speak out against abuse. We must remember that silence only protects the abuser. By speaking up, supporting survivors, and working to prevent future abuse, we can create a world where everyone feels safe and respected.
Broken homes, shattered communities, the ripple effect. The impact of crime extends far beyond the immediate victims. Families are torn apart, communities live in fear, and the social fabric of our nation is weakened. Children who grow up in neighborhoods plagued by violence often struggle in school, lack access to opportunities, and are more likely to become entangled in the criminal justice system. themselves. The cycle of crime becomes generational, perpetuating poverty and despair. We need to invest in our communities, providing resources and support to break this cycle. We need to create safe spaces for children, provide job training and educational opportunities, and foster a sense of hope and belonging. Healing the wounds of crime requires a holistic approach that addresses the underlying social and economic factors that contribute to its existence. We must work together to build stronger, safer communities for everyone. The system's failings, where we go wrong. Our current criminal justice system, while well-intentioned, is often flawed and ineffective. We rely too heavily on punishment and incarceration, neglecting the root causes of crime and failing to provide adequate support for rehabilitation. Mandatory minimum sentences, racial disparities in sentencing, and a lack of access to adequate legal representation disproportionately impact marginalized communities, trapping them in a cycle of poverty and incarceration. We need to rethink our approach to criminal justice. We need to invest in preventative measures such as early childhood education, mental health services, and job training programs. We need to address systemic racism and bias within the justice system and ensure equal access to justice for all. True justice requires a shift in perspective from punishment to rehabilitation, from retribution to restoration. Finding hope, a call for change. The picture painted so far may seem bleak, but despair is not an option. We must hold on to hope, for it is in hope that we find the strength to fight for a better future. Change is possible, but it requires a collective effort. We need to demand better from our elected officials, advocate for policy changes, and support organizations working on the front lines of this issue. We can each play a role in creating a safer, more just society. We can volunteer our time, donate to organizations, educate ourselves and others, and use our voices to advocate for change. Even small acts of kindness and compassion can make a difference. By treating each other with dignity and respect, we can start to rebuild the social fabric of our communities and create a world where everyone feels safe and valued. Towards a brighter dawn, our shared responsibility. The fight against crime is not a battle between us and them. It is a shared responsibility for all Americans to come together and build a safer, more just society for everyone. It requires empathy, and a willingness to address the root causes of crime, from poverty and lack of opportunity to systemic racism and bias. It requires investing in our communities, supporting rehabilitation and reintegration programs, and creating a system that prioritizes justice and compassion. The journey towards a brighter dawn is easy, but it is a journey worth taking. Let us move forward with courage, determination, and a shared commitment to creating a future where every American can live in safety and dignity